What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. And guys, I've got like a serious question that I just kind of wanted to throw out there and see if I can get answered. Has Pokemon gone too far? And more specifically, has Pokemon gone too far with this? This is Applin's new final evolution. This is Applin's 3-stage evolution, but here's the thing. Applin has now a crazy branched evolution. Actually, the first time we've ever seen a branched evolution quite like this in Pokemon. And don't get me wrong, okay? Pokemon has always had branched evolutions. For instance, we have Eevee, which is arguably the most famous branched evolution because Eevee always tends to get a different evolution for like the new gimmicks of the new thing. Or at least Eevee's a good Pokemon to show off new typings. So it got all of them. This actually misses Sylveon in this particular clip. But as you can see, like, Eevee always has it. And Pokemon has always had different evolution methods with kind of the new generations. For instance, they introduced Friendship Evolution in Generation 2. And they've always made it to where you've had to have different games and different items to evolve different Pokemon. For instance, they made the Magmarizer to get Magmortar, and the Protectorate to get Rhyperior, and then you had to trade Pokemon in order to get those. But then Scarlet and Violet comes around. So in order to get Hydrapple, which to remind you is the final evolution of Dipplin, you have to go through some crazy things. So let's go ahead and just recap. So this is Dipplin's evolution chart. So let me go ahead and explain Dipplin, okay? So first off, you gotta get yourself a Dipplin. So if you give Dipplin a tart apple, it will become a Flapple. If you give it a sweet apple, it will become an Appleton. If you give it a syrup apple, you can get a Hydrapple, which you have to buy the syrup apple in the Teal Mask DLC, which can give you a Dipplin. Okay, so you take Applin, give it the syrupy apple after you've bought it, and you will get a Dipplin. That being said, then you go to the Indigo Disc DLC. In that, you have to level up your Dipplin, knowing the move Dragon Cheer, which you get Dragon Cheer after you've defeated the Elite Four Drayden with a Pokemon team that you've caught in the terrarium. So you can't even use the team that you've built up in order to get this move. You actually have to build a whole new team, which is kind of cool, but also kind of frustrating for the people who just want to go and play. But I get where it is fun, and that's actually a really cool gimmick that I wish they'd introduce in more of Pokemon, because like I personally enjoy making new teams to explore new areas with, so that one actually made sense to me. But I mean, that's a lot of work in order just to get this one Pokemon. And this ain't even the only time they've done that. They actually also did it with the Pawniard line. So in order to get a King's Gambit, you have to have a Pawniard leveled up to level 52 to evolve it into Bisharp, if you want to take the long way around. My advice, just catch a Bisharp. Once you have this Bisharp, no matter how you get it, you have to, 1, give it a Leader's Crest, right? And then you have to go out and defeat 3 Bisharp that are holding the Leader's Crest item, and these Bisharp are actually protecting a group of Pawniard. Once you've done that, it will evolve into King's Gambit. These are crazy things you have to do in order to catch Pokemon, or in order to get a Pokemon, because you cannot get King's Gambit in the wild outside of raids. And these are just the most recent examples. If I want to jump back to Legends Arceus, you can look at the Basculin line, which only evolves into Basculegion after it's taken so much damage without fainting, which was a pain in the butt to get. And I will tell you what, it took me a long time, and I've got shiny versions of these things. Don't get me wrong, Pokemon's always had like frustrating Pokemon that you have to get, primarily because it wants you to have to play the game with other people. So like I said previously, you have to trade with friends in order to get certain Pokemon holding certain items. So you have to go get the item, trade that Pokemon with your friend, and then trade it back in order to get that Pokemon. And they've made it a lot more easier to come across in more recent games. I will admit that it is easier to obtain these Pokemon these days. But it's still nonetheless a small pain in the butt, and I think they've taken it just, a little too far. We can even look at the Slowpoke line. This is Slowpoke's evolutionary chart. So in order, you can get a Slowpoke, level it up, and it will become a Slowbro, right? Then Slowbro also Mega Evolves, which is kind of crazy. But if you take a Slowpoke, evolve it, and trade it with holding a King's Rock, you will get Slowking. That being said, if you take a Galarian Slowpoke and do the same thing, you get the Galarian forms. So it's just, has Pokemon just kind of gotten so convoluted now? Like, honestly, here's my question, okay? Does Hydrapple take it just too far? I think the answer is yes and no. It's fun to play the games and collect all the Pokemon. That is one of the main goals in all the Pokemon games. But the trick to it is if you're making Pokemon too hard to get, most casual players will never be able to finish their Pokédex. And you already really can't finish the Pokédex by yourself. You already have to have online or access to other games or other people by yourself in order to do it. So I don't know. I think what I would like to see is just, instead of making all of these crazy new evolutions and ways to get these Pokemon, maybe just take a step back and make Pokemon all accessible to the players of an individual game. That would be nice, but will Nintendo do it? Probably not, to be honest with you, because this is one of their bigger money-making strategies. You have to have two separate versions of the game in order to get these version exclusive Pokemon. You have to have two separate versions of the game in order to get all of the Pokemon. Multiple people have to get versions of the game so you can trade to get all the Pokemon. And fill out your Pokédex. So it's like, I don't know. Honestly though, I think they might have just taken things a little too far with Hydrapple, but it's also really cool to see in its own line, because I mean, look at this. I mean, this is honestly the oddest branch evolution we've ever gotten. So if you're looking at it this way, this means any Pokemon could now potentially later on down the line, or even in a DLC, they're just going to throw a new evolution at us, and it does keep us on our toes. But to answer the question, did they take it too far? Maybe. Is it fun? Yes. Will the casual player ever be able to actually get all of this without, trading if you're not wanting to pay for the DLCs? Probably not. You're honestly going to need the DLC anyway. But hey, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Has Pokemon just lost its mind when it comes to evolutions? Because it seems like it's getting crazy, and at this point, it very well might be. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And while you're down there, guys, please remember, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you never miss another video from me. And I will see you guys in the next video.